I work for the San Diego County. I'm at the Alpine branch, and I'm here to speak about services to Native Americans. It's one group that often gets forgotten or overlooked because it's kind of a small group. It's only 1% of the population of the United States is Native American, a little bit less actually. But you might not know that California has the largest population. Our state has the largest population of any of the states in the country of Native Americans. And here in San Diego County, you might be surprised how many reservations we have. Would anyone like to take a guess at how many there are?
100? 100?
100? A little bit less than that. You know, you see the different casinos around, and each one of those is a reservation. There's actually 18, which I was astounded to discover. I'm just thrilled to hear about Jane's partnership with ALA and the Circle of Learning grant, and that there's 21 Native American students in the program. That's wonderful news because there's been a real dearth of librarians from this group. Before I get into this too, I just want to mention, I'm so glad you talked about Learn, June, because I just want to share a little story from my branch. In January, we had a 74-year-old woman walk in and tell me, I made a New Year's resolution that I want to learn to read. And I thought, wow, this gal has courage to come in and do that. And so we did set her up with a Learn tutor. So it's been a great experience, and she's continuing to meet with her tutor weekly. They're taking a little break right now, but I just want to put a plug in for that. Hooray for literacy learning at any age and from any culture. The title of my presentation today I chose was We're Still Here. And if you haven't pulled out my handout yet, please do. I chose that title after I thought about this PBS presentation that was broadcast a couple of years ago called We Shall Remain. It was a series about the history of Native Americans, and interspersed among the different depictions of the history were interviews today, Indians today, from the different tribes and locations that were being filmed. And that was one of the messages that they wanted to, and they said it several times, we're still here. And sometimes people think that they're gone, they're extinct, or they only live out in the plains somewhere, but they're all around us. I wanted to read a quote from another. I just love books on this topic, and I always seem to grab them and read them. And this is a book called In a Sacred Manner I Live. And this is a quote from Old Man Buffalo Grass that he stated in 1928. And it's called Looking into the Future. He says, you look at me and you see only an ugly old man, but within I am filled with great beauty. I sit as on a mountaintop and I look into the future. I see my people and your people living together. In time to come, my people will have forgotten their early way of life, unless they learn it from white man's books. So you must write down all that I will tell you, and you must have it made into a book, that coming generations may know this truth. And when I read that, I thought, we as librarians are a fulfillment of that prophecy. We are stewards of the white man's books, as he called them, all books that come to us. And it's important for us to help preserve and maintain and share this history that is kind of fragile, that has been preserved in non-written ways, oral traditions for so many years. And those traditions are, even though they're still around, they are fragile. They're being lost somewhat. I wanted to put another plug in for something that I heard earlier, going to a conference. The first time I really got interested in this topic was when I went to CLA a few years ago, and I just happened to choose to attend a presentation by Susan Hanks, who works as a state librarian, and she talked about tribal libraries. heard of a tribal library? Okay, you have, good. Many of the reservations maintain libraries where they keep their history, their archives, and some of them are very small. They might just be one bookshelf in a tribal hall. Some of them are very beautiful. We have some here in San Diego County that are well worth visiting. Actually, I want to tell you about the one in Verona because they have a museum and cultural center that's free, open to the public, and they have a research library and they have an archive. And the person who works there, I put her name on the handout, her name's Rosa Longacre. She got that job right out of library school, librarian slash archivist. So keep your eyes open, as Jean said. In collection development and programming on Native American topics or for Native Americans, there are some things to look for and some things to be aware of. Number one, I just want to say it's okay to use the word Indian. I know I sort of worried about, well, should I call them Native Americans or American Indians? But I've heard from my Kumeyaay friend, sure, you can call us Indians, that's fine. Excuse me. There's another misconception that Indians are wealthy. From the gaming industry, or from the government, or somewhere they get a lot of money. And that's true for some reservations, some tribes, but it's not true for all. My friend Gwen, who's a Kumeyaay, has lived really quite destitute most of her life. She gets a small income, but nothing, because her tribe is not a gaming tribe. Oh, and Indian in the Cupboard is not recommended reading. So here's a little list of what to look for in collection management for books that are appropriate or inappropriate. Is the vocabulary demeaning? Are terms like squaw, papoose, chief, redskin, savage, or warrior used? Do the Indians talk like Tonto? We don't want to see that. Are the Indians dressed in the standard buckskin, beads, and feathers? That's just a stereotype that we want to avoid because each tribe has their own particular traditional dress. And of course, California Indians dress in a completely different way. Are Indians portrayed as an extinct species with no existence as human beings in contemporary America? You know, we have, as I said, they're all around us, and they don't just live on reservations. The librarian at Verona told me we have people come out here that expect to see Indians living in teepees here on the reservation. We don't look like that anymore. We are fortunate in Alpine to be close to several Indian reservations, and I have worked on some outreach with them, and we have, thank you, one preschool group that's been coming to our story time since I've made a connection with her, and it's just wonderful to have them come in, and she brings them over in a van every Wednesday. But one day we had a volunteer giving us stories, and she used a little finger play that talked about see the Indians riding on their horses. And I wasn't there at the time, I was in my office doing something, but the teacher of the preschool approached me afterward and she said, you know, these Indian children, it may be offensive to them to see that. So I don't know if we would have thought of that, but that's a stereotype, you know. Not only Indians ride horses, and not all horse riders are Indians, so it's just something to avoid. And of course, we spoke with the volunteer, and she dropped that figure play. But it's just, we need to respect them for who they are. And I hate to even think of them as them, because to me they're us. They're part of us. They're my brothers and sisters, just like all of you are. And that's how they think too. I've tried to think of what I could offer you as busy students to just get this on your radar, to be aware of Native American services. And that's what I have on my handout. These are things you can do in 5 minutes or less, most of them. if you join the American Indian Library Association, you get on their listserv, and you get a newsletter, and you just are networked into a great group. There's another listserv there that you can sign up for with Susan Hanks. There is a conference coming up in 2012 of Tribal Archives, Libraries, and Museums, and it sounds like they're steering you towards CLA and ALA, so I didn't know about that when I put this on here. There is a virtual tribal library right here in San Diego, maintained by a Kumeyaay who holds an MLIS. Her name is Karen Vignal, and the tribe is Santa Isabel. Since they don't have an actual physical tribal library, and she's a librarian, she just took it upon herself to do this as a labor of love. She created a library online, and you can go visit it and find out all kinds of interesting things and see photographs, learn some words in the language, and so forth. And she's always updating it of events and news. It's really, really valuable. And then here's the Verona Cultural Center and Museum that I mentioned. And of course, we shall remain. You can check it out at the library or look at it online. And the other things I've listed here, I know my time is short, are just a smattering of resources for your customers, children, teachers, college students. We have a local Kumeyaay community college that offers courses in the language and the traditions, culture, the handicrafts of the Kumeyaay. That's our local Indian tribe. And then there's some other recommended sites at the bottom, the National Museum of the American Indian and so forth. I recommend that you take a look at some of these and just be aware, And you may have Native Americans that come into your libraries where you work and you don't even realize who they are. So just, and you know, maybe you won't ever know, but just be aware and able to provide the services that they ask for, and programming too. I know Jacqueline has worked, and here at San Diego County Library we have a program every September for California Native American Day at the Campo Branch, and I've started working in November as Native American Month, and so I've had a presentation. One of the Verona archivists has come over and given a children's program. So there are resources available for free that you can call upon. I want to close by reading another quote from my friend Karen Vignal. And she has this at the bottom of all her emails that she sends out, and I love it. It's a quote from Makina, a Nootka chief from the early 19th century. Once I was in Victoria, and I saw a very large house. They told me it was a bank, and that the white men placed their money there to be taken care of, and that by and by they got it back with interest. We are Indians, and we have no such bank. But when we have plenty of money or blankets, we give them away to other chiefs and people, and by they return them with interest, and our hearts feel good. Our way of giving is our bank. All that man needs for health and healing has been provided by God in nature. The challenge of science is to find it. So thank you very much for your attention.